For today's Cyber CEO episode,
Ralph kind of always has a good day. His spirit, his personality is just so great. Even when I'm not having the best day or I'm not as prepared in my business, he's ready to work and he gets me in line. Or even if I'm away from my phone and I'm not able to be in contact with him, he's always taking accountability and working at something. And that's helped raise my business and sustain it as the market changes. So when I haven't put my best effort forward as far as like on my end, some days it might be a down day, he's allowed the business to still coast. So I just love his effort. I love his personality. I love his enthusiasm for just being there every day, showing up, wanting to improve, wanting to do better, ready to just give his best.
welcome to Cyber CEO, wherein we talk about how our cyberbackers helped our cyber CEOs take their businesses to the next level. Cyber CEO is powered by Cyberbacker, the world's leading provider of admin support services from anywhere in the world to anyone in the world. Please visit our website www.cyberbacker.com for more details. Another awesome day here at Cyberbacker. My name is Jello. We're back with another episode of Cyber CEO. And of course, we have a very special guest coming back to the show. Richard, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. It's a wonderful day. Happy to be here with you.
All right, perfect. And again, thank you very much for coming back. I know you have a lot of things to do. Really appreciate the time. Now, what we wanted to do was just to talk more about your experience with Cyberbacker and virtual leverage, obviously. So, how long have you been partnered with Cyberbacker, Richard?
We just went past our year anniversary, I believe, last month.
Last month. So first a year done with Cyberbacker, now a year and a month. Now, is this your first time? Was this your first time to work with someone virtual, by the way?
Yes, it was.
First go. Was it a big transition for you working with someone virtual now?
It wasn't a big transition. I didn't know what to expect. And as far as quality of service, I didn't really know what I was jumping into. I just was impressed with the presentation when I came across Cyberbacker as a company. A lot of things were very prepared. So that kind of gave me a lot of faith in taking the leap.
So really just a presentation. Now imagine a year and a month now working with Cyberbacker. Now, obviously, if it didn't work out, you wouldn't be here for over a year now. How did you create that successful partnership with someone who's virtual? Do you have any quick secrets that you can share with our listeners now?
Well, it's very interesting because when I first engaged with Cyberbacker, you all, again, as far as being prepared, you all have a lot of systems in place, like a business that you would expect. And so it made the process very easy, but also it was like, oh, wow, like, what did I get into? Because not only were you all prepared, like the systems that were set up were a little more than I thought. And it was like, oh, wow. So I'm doing an interview and, it's like you all have profiles and videos and all of these things, which are great. They were great tools. And when I came across them, I was like, oh, this is real. It became real very fast. But for me, I always had an idea in mind when I was thinking about working with somebody. It's like, I never wanted to be a boss or, some commander where I'm just telling somebody what to do. I wanted to empower them as much as they wanted to empower me. And one thing that from day one, I spoke with my Cyberbacker, Ralph, about is accountability, and I told him, I said, look, I want you to be accountable to yourself, as much as you are accountable to working, with me. And he really took that to heart. And that is the foundation in which we grow on. So, if I don't have to micromanage him, I just need to have things in place that allows him to be the best version of himself. And that's constantly what I work on. I mean, he's an overachiever as is. And I think just setting that principle in his head before he even came on just allowed him to like really, if something is, if we talked about something the other day. We were talking about the
Mhm.
transaction process, and I said, "Hey, look, I want you to internalize this, not just from an aspect of like just doing your job, but just I want you to be an expert on it. That way, you point out things before they even happen. That way, when we're going through our systems and something comes up, you can spot it ahead
Mhm.
of time. You can say, 'Hey, Richard, I think we should handle this way,' and you have ideas to contribute because it's not something of you just following a checklist. This is something that you've internalized. This is something that you actually are a professional in, and you can now add more value to anything that you do when you take that approach." And he takes that to heart, and we that's how we ride.
Man, it just seems to me that everything's going great, especially the communication piece between the both of you. Again, it's what you mentioned like a few days ago. Had a conversation about something that it has to do with the business. Now, how did that start out though? That communication, that strong communication that you have with Ralph, your cyberbacker, because you and I both know in any partnership, it starts somewhere, right? But how did
Right.
you guys do it? How did you do it?
I think one of the biggest things I've seen as far as like when it comes to somebody who's working a job,
Mhm.
um, is they look at it as this is just something I'm doing,
Sure.
clocking in, I'm clocking out kind of thing. And for me, it's like ownership. There's a book that I read years ago. It's by Jocko Willink, and it's called Extreme Ownership. And that's kind of one of the things that we look at. And me and Ralph, we've connected on sports, and I know about his family. I know about his day to
Wow.
day. And so it's not just he clocks in and he does his work and he clocks out. It's like we really have a bond. If he needs something, if he needs to communicate something, I have an open door policy, whether, it's like, business or personal, we'll talk and we'll engage and we just grow in this together, and
Mhm.
it really is a partnership more than it is my business and he's working for me and he's a virtual assistant or anything like that. Is he's a partner in this with me and I want him to feel like that. And because of that, he really takes pride in what he does.
So right there, just building on the part is what you mentioned, engaging with the person as well, not a boss and employee partnership,
Right.
relationship there. It's a partnership as equals. Again, just helping each other be successful and grow, of course, for
Yep.
the success of the business. Now, talking about the success of the business, one of the things we love about working with clients like you is hearing about great results that you've achieved ever since you partnered with your cyberbacker. So, sharing these success stories could be very educational and inspiring to other business owners to try virtual leverage. Now, can you tell us about one of your biggest wins so far that you've been working with Ralph, your cyberbacker? Any metrics that you can share, any data that you can share?
Well, what's funny is I tell Ruff this all the time. It's like I'm constantly, and this is I would say it's not a metric as much as I think people in hearing this they'll kind of understand when I say it. The amount of people that reach out to me and they say, "Hey, how'd you do this? Hey, how'd you do that? Hey," and like we're really setting a standard of like we're not just going about this how everybody else does it. We really step
Mhm.
back and say, okay, what is good? How can we improve on it? What are other agents doing? What are other businesses doing in other industries? How can we improve? And that in itself, I mean, it's one of the biggest things is like as a human, you don't always have a good day. And I would say Ralph kind of always has a good day. His spirit his personality is just so great. But like even when I'm not having the best day or I'm not as prepared in my business, he's ready to work and he gets me in line. Or, even if like I'm away from my phone and I'm not able to be in contact with him, he's always taking accountability and working at something. And that's helped raise my business and sustain it as the market changes. So, I'm here in Atlanta and the market has changed
Mhm.
plenty of times. And even in a year's time, right? The interest rates have
Yeah,
changed, things of that
that's
nature.
true.
And when I haven't put my best effort forward as far as like on my end, some days it might be a down day. He's allowed the business to still coast. And when I am in tune, we've risen. So, our clients and our past clients and future clients, they all feel like they're getting great touches. They feel like they're getting a great process when they're coming into our field.
Now, it just seems to be that you've already built this great relationship, somewhat turned into a friendship as well that you have with Ralph. Am I right?
Yep, absolutely.
I just can feel it how you describe it, how you work with the guy, with Ralph, obviously, your cyberbacker. Now, I know in every kind of partnership as well, there could be challenges or let's say room for improvement in any kind of partner. That's for growth, right? Now, have you had any, let's say, small challenges or any challenges that you've had working with someone virtual?
So the biggest challenge, and this is what I'll say to anybody that wants to bring on a virtual assistant, is setting expectations for yourself as far as what you need out of your virtual assistant. And I've talked to other people who have cyberbackers and they've tried the virtual route. And some of the biggest challenges we run into is like, what do I give them to do? You know, what I asked them to do a task and they knocked it out in, an hour or 30 minutes or a day. And it's like, that was supposed to take a week or two. And it's like, sometimes we feel almost like overwhelmed or unprepared in giving our virtual assistants tasks, at times because, they do such a good job. And again, that's where we've stepped back and we're like, hey, what are our models? What are the things that we want to execute on, not only today, but this week, this month, this year? And, what does that look like? So even when you've completed a task, you can put that energy towards something else, or, where do we need to be better? So you don't feel like you're not sure of what direction we're going in.
So basically, just setting proper expectations during the beginning of the partnership, what it's going to be looking like working together, and also planning out, at least being ready to have someone to help you with the work that you that has to be done. Because again, I think in real estate there are a lot of things to be done in every day in any kind of business, especially if you do it on your own. Sometimes 24 hours isn't enough. All you have to do is just plan everything out, and before you partner with a cyberbacker. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. And it's okay. What do I need? Why do I need that? And what does that look like as far as it being executed? And if it's a virtual assistant, if they're not feet on the ground, okay, how can they help in that? How can they improve in this process that maybe needs to be leveraged? It's a lot of things that happens even outside of just the day-to-day work. It's all right. If I can maximize my day, I need to do 3 things, right? This needs to be completed. This needs to be completed. And I'm not sure if this needs to be completed. What can I remove? What can I leverage? What can I do myself? And where does my virtual assistant come in as far as me improving on those things? Because I think sometimes as agents, we do try to do things ourselves a little too much. And we think it's good. We're just like, I'll just do it myself. But it's like, you're kind of working against yourself if you're not leveraging and maximizing your time, especially when you have somebody on your side. So sometimes if it is a task that comes up, I might ask Ralph, like, hey, is there another approach that I could take to this that you can help me in it? Or even asking him to do research. And luckily for him, he has a team, cyberbacker behind him that you all help with it. So it's like, even cyberbacker is on my team, right? Not just Ralph. Yeah. Right? He has trainers. He has people that he can reach out to if he doesn't have the answer to a question. And all of those things goes to the greater good. If only I could just step back, make it not all about me, and say, how can I best serve my clients with the team that I have around me?
I think that's the most important thing in a real estate business. Again, there are, let's say, for example, there are 10 things to do every day. Why not focus on just 2 things where you're really good at? Let your cyberbacker handle the 80-20 rule, right? Even if you're able to do the 10 things on your own, then why not just focus on the things that you do best so that you can grow the business, something like that, right?
Absolutely. And I think sometimes that just comes down to us wanting to control it all. And sometimes it comes down to fear, as if it's like, well, if I give it to somebody else, maybe the quality of it goes down. And what I tell people in that situation is, well, if the quality of it is going to go down if you give it to somebody else, then your problem is you're not focusing on the right thing. You're focusing on the task instead of how do I give it to somebody in such a way that the quality doesn't go down.
Absolutely agree with you there. But good thing you have, of course, Ralph as a partner in your business now, supporting you, backing you up every day. Now, we've been talking about him for a while now, and for sure, once we have this online, he's going to be listening and watching this. So, I just wanted to know if do you have any special messages or a quick shout out you'd like to give out to your rock star cyberbacker, Ralph?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't need to say anything to Ralph because he already knows it. I tell him every day. He's an amazing person. And I actually was talking to somebody from your team the other day about him. And I was out with a mentee of mine, and my mentee finds me to be pretty harsh on him, pretty hard. I don't give compliments like just easily, which cyberbacker probably is like, you seem so complimentary. It's like, I can be a harsh critic at times, but one thing I value about Ralph the most is like effort. Like you don't have to be perfect. And I tell him all the time, because he can be pretty hard on himself if something doesn't go perfectly. Yeah. It's like, look, I don't care if you get it right every time, because with effort, if you're putting forth the effort, we will get it right. If we get something wrong, that's just feedback on what we can improve. So I just love his effort. I love his personality. I love his enthusiasm for just being there every day, showing up, wanting to improve, wanting to do better. And that goes a long way. So I guess that's his compliment, but he doesn't need to hear it here. He hears it every day. I mean, I really do give him that credit, just because, he takes accountability, and it's nothing that I need to say to him. When he gets something wrong, he's right there on top of it, looking to improve and looking to see how it doesn't happen again. So, I'm definitely complimenting to him at all times, because, he does exactly what he does. He does exactly what he's supposed to do as far as showing up every day, ready to just give his best.
Now, it seems to me you've already found your perfect cyberbacker in Ralph. Obviously, we're very excited to see the continued growth and the success of this partnership that you both have. And again, Richard, thank you very much for coming back. Always have fun having you on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And look, if anybody is hesitant about getting a cyberbacker or, anything like that, it's like, look, the only way you find out if it's right or wrong is to put your foot forward. Yeah. And with a cyberbacker, the best thing that you have is a team that, like, for years now has constantly worked on their back end to improve and to give the best value to agents and other people who need their services. And that's all you could really ask for. So if anybody's hesitant about working with cyberbacker, they really should look at themselves in the mirror and say, hey, what am I not bringing to the table that I'm not bringing in these people that have such a unique system for me?
We appreciate that very much, Richard, of course. And again, love having you on the show. Hopefully I can get you back here after a few more months, talk to you more about your experience and, of course, your cyberbacker.
I'm a call away.
Thank you for listening to our daily dose of Cyber CEO. Stay tuned to know more about how Cyberbacker creates a difference in this digital time and age. You can visit our website www.cyberbacker.com and follow our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Spotify.